Greetings, mighty companions, and welcome back to the practical and healing applications of A Course in Miracles with me, Anna Kujawa-Quinn. And as you can see, I am doing my Monday night classes online for the winter, and I will go back to the Miracle Center in-person classes come spring or summer. So today, let's just take a few minutes and tune inward together. Just for a few moments, that we might step away from the world. So if you haven't already, close your eyes and take a breath. This is our time to leave the world behind for just a few moments. This is our time to go within and to seek and to experience the experience of completion from within. To find that place within where the needs of the body cease to demand our attention. This is our time to quiet our mind, that we might hear the answers that are waiting for us. And thank you, Spirit, for this time. We breathe in the peace and the power of the present moment. We tune our awareness to the presence that lives in the present moment. We take this time to feel our connection to the divine that lives within each of us, feeling its love for us, feeling its power. And we give this time to you, Spirit of Truth, Spirit of Healing. We give this time to you that you might guide our minds, that we might hear your answers to our calls for help. We thank you for your guidance. We thank you for your love. And we give you full charge of this time that we take together to listen to the truth together and to be healed by the truth together. And to that we say, so be it. All right. Welcome. Hi, Daniel. Lovely to see you. All right, you guys. Well, where we're at today is in chapter 23, section 4. And I don't remember what it is right now. Let's see. Is this, oh, yes. It's chapter 23, section 4 in the blue covered edition. This, the Foundation for Inner Peace version. And I don't remember what section it is in this book. But if you go to chapter 23, just look for the section titled Above the Battleground. So I love this section so much. It's for me, it's so many things, but it's a wonderful reminder about what to do when you notice that you are on a battleground, when you notice that you are in a conflict, when you are experiencing conflict, when life is feeling like a battleground, when your relationship is feeling like a battleground. What do you do? This section talks about what to do when you feel like you're on a battleground, when you feel like you're in a war. The title of this chapter is The War Against Yourself. So when you notice that you are experiencing conflict and war in yourself, in your relationships, in your world, what to do, how to reinterpret the battleground that turns it into a garden of plenty for all, and what to do so that you experience yourself as above it. Okay? It says when you're experiencing yourself on a battleground, the truth is that there is a way to get above the battleground, that you might look upon the battleground from a higher state of mind, a higher state of peace of mind, which not only gives you peace, but also transforms the battleground as well. So let us remember that as we go through this. And anywhere that you are experiencing conflict today, and use this for that. All right? Beautiful. Okay, so we're in chapter 23, section 4, Above the Battleground. It starts off with an instruction. Do not remain in conflict. Okay, I can choose to not remain in conflict. That's an option, apparently so. Do not remain in conflict. Why? Because there is no war without attack. So if there's no attack, there's no war. If there's no attack, there's no conflict. So if you're tired of the conflict and you're tired of life feeling like a battleground, you can simply end the war against yourself by ceasing to attack. There is no conflict without attack. There is no war without attack. There is no battleground without attack. So don't attack, and then there is no conflict. There is no war. Good to know. It's a great instruction. If you don't like the feeling of the conflict, you're tired of the conflict for real, and you don't like the experience of life feeling like a battleground for you, okay? Stop attacking. Just stop. Which means that's how you choose to don't remain in conflict. Good to know. First thing to do. The fear of God is really the fear of life, not the fear of death. The fear of God is not the fear of death. The fear of God is the fear of life. Yet God remains the only place of safety. I'll say that again. God remains the only place of safety. Hey, what makes life feel like a battleground? What makes for conflict? Attack. Where is the only place of safety? God, the thoughts of God, the love of God, the mind of God, the truth of God. And why is it that God remains the only place of safety? Why is that? That's because in God there is no attack. And that means that in God, no illusions are there. And no illusion in any form stalks heaven. So in reality, in God, no illusion stalks heaven. In heaven, in God, there is no attack. I love that. Imagine being someplace where no attack, no fear, no guilt is lurking and stalking you. Wouldn't that be nice to experience a place, a state of mind where you're not always feeling like you're being stalked by fear, stalked by attack in some form? Imagine that. Wouldn't that be lovely? Of Course in Miracles calls that heaven or reality. And remember, heaven is a state of mind where you're not feeling stalked by attack, where you're not feeling stalked by fear or any illusions. That's what heaven is. Heaven is wholly true, which means no illusions stalk heaven, because there's only truth in heaven. There's no illusions in heaven. In heaven, no difference enters. And what is all the same cannot conflict. That's why there's no conflict in heaven. There's no war in reality, because in reality, in heaven, there's no difference. And where is conflict when there is no difference? Got to have two different things to have conflict. Now, you are not asked to fight against your wish to murder. Oh, okay, great. So don't fight against your wish to murder. This is telling us that it says, okay, you're not asked to fight against your wish to murder. Great. Which is what? Your wish to attack. So, well, I don't have a wish to murder. Yeah, but do you attack? Yeah, I'll attack a lot. That's coming from your wish to murder. It's the same thing. So, but you're not asked to fight against your wish to murder. You're not asked to deny that you have a wish to murder. You're not asked to pretend that you don't have a wish to murder. You're not asked to project your wish to murder. All you're asked to do relative to your wish to murder, which is your desire to attack, all you're asked to do is to realize that the form your wish to murder takes conceals the wish to murder. Isn't that wonderful? So we're not being asked to deny it, suppress it, repress it, project it. We're being asked to recognize that it is. We're being asked to recognize that your desire to attack is really a wish to murder. That's all. You know, don't fight against it. Don't suppress it. Don't repress it. Don't pretend you don't have a wish to murder. Don't pretend that you don't have a desire to attack. Don't pretend that. All you need to do is recognize that's what it is. Oh, this is my desire to attack. This is my desire for attack. I have a desire for attack. I don't like to admit that. You know, peace-loving teacher of peace that I am. I don't like to acknowledge that I like to attack. I have a desire to attack, which is really a wish to murder. Don't mince words, Course in Miracles. So it's not asking you to deny it, suppress it, or repress it. It's just saying, oh, this is a wish to murder. This is my desire to attack. And that's all it is. This is a desire to murder, a wish to murder. Wow. My desire to attack, these attack thoughts are my wish to murder. Okay? Don't suppress it, repress it. Call it what it is. Don't suppress it or repress it. Just call it what it is. Okay? It's the only way. It's the only way to undo the attack thoughts that you do have, that we all do have, obviously. That's why we're in a world that seems like it's always at war. It's because we are waging a war against ourselves. And the way you wage a war against yourself is you attack others. You have a wish to murder that you do not tell the truth about. You do not acknowledge. So it says, you are not asked to fight against your wish to murder, which is your desire to attack, but you are asked to realize the form it takes conceals the wish to murder. Okay? Your attack is concealing a wish to murder. That's all you're asked to do. This attack thought that I got right now is concealing a wish to murder. And that's all we're asked to do. Beautiful. But it's this that you fear, and not the form that your attack thought takes. I'm not afraid of the form that my wish to murder, my attack thoughts take. I'm afraid that I have a wish to murder. That's kind of frightening to realize that you have a wish to murder, right? That's why we always want to deny it and suppress it and repress it. But how can you be in so much conflict in your world and be in a world that's always at war and you not have a wish to murder or any attack thoughts, right? It can't be that you have so much conflict in your life and in your world, yet you have no desire to attack and you have no wish to murder. So that's what we're really afraid of. I'm not afraid of my attack thoughts. I'm afraid to look at that what my attack thoughts are hiding is a wish to murder. I don't want to acknowledge that I have a wish to murder, but I must have a wish to murder because there's a lot of murder around here. Murder is a very common thing around here on planet Earth. I don't know if you've noticed that. A lot of murder going on. As a matter of fact, the Course in Miracles calls this a dream of death. Okay? And that's what we came here to see if we could experience. You know, we had the tiny mad idea that, hey, I want to see if I can make myself unlike the way God created me and die. Wouldn't that be fun? And then here you go. Now you got a body that can die. And Now you're in a place where murder is a very common occurrence. It's not like that on all other worlds, you know. There are some worlds, lots of planets where they're not, they don't have wars. They don't physically die unless they're done with their body. I mean, imagine that. There are lots of worlds, and definitely the real world, heaven, the real world, is a place where death doesn't stalk you all the time. Here, death stalks us all the time, everywhere, around every corner. We're like, how could I die today? How could I die today? Oh my God, this can kill me, that can kill me, this can kill me. And we just think that's natural. We just think that's normal to be in a world where everything dies and everything's trying to kill you, everything's trying to eat you, and everything lives off the death of something else. Okay, we just think that's natural. That's not natural at all. That is not natural at all. And that comes because we have a desire to attack. We have a wish to murder in our minds. And that's what has produced a world like we experience. A world where everything dies and everything lives off the death of everything else. And death seems to be stalking us around every corner. And so, you know, we walk around with, you know, some mace, maybe a gun, you know, some bodyguards. And, you know, and then, okay, try to be happy. Okay, so all we're asked to do with our attack thoughts is to recognize that our attack thoughts are concealing our wish to murder. That's it. And that's what we're afraid of, our wish to murder, not the form it takes. All right? And then it goes on to say something even more radical. This is a really intense section so far, huh? It says, what is not love is murder. Oh, isn't that interesting? So what is not love is murder. Why? Because what is not love is an attack. And what is an attack? Our attack is just a cover for our wish to murder. Well, okay, great. The Course in Miracles does not mince words at all. Because the Course in Miracles doesn't care what you think. The Course in Miracles isn't worried about offending you. The author of A Course in Miracles isn't worried whether you like the truth or not. The author of the Course loves you, and so it's giving you the truth, whether you are ready and willing to accept it and be healed by it or not. So thank you, author of A Course in Miracles, for not worrying about my fear of and my defense against the truth. Thank you. It says, right, what is not love is murder. Why is that? That's because what is not loving must be an attack. And that's because every illusion is an assault on truth. And everything that's not true does violence to the idea of love, because that untruth seems to be of equal truth. So everything that's not true is an assault on truth. And every false idea does violence to the idea of love, because every false idea seems to be of equal truth to the truth. Okay, great. Wow, well, this is helping us to get absolutely 100% out of denial about our own attack thoughts. Absolutely. Scott, if you're going to stop attacking, ceasing to attack, then you need to hear the truth about your attack thoughts, what they're really doing, what they're really about, what they're really going for. You may just think, oh, I'm just trying to defend myself, or oh, I'm just expressing an opinion, or oh, I'm just trying to be right. But the truth is that it is a wish to murder. That's what's really going on with your attack thoughts. And that's what's really producing a world where death stalks us around every corner. So it's asking us to really take the cover off of our attack thoughts, take responsibility for them, and because that's the only way to go, oh, I don't want that. You know, you can't say, I don't want that until you've looked at what it really is. You know, you'll never have the motivation to stop attacking until you see what your attack thoughts really are, what they're really about, and what they really would do, and what they really are producing in the world. So, because we are in a profound denial about our attack thoughts. We're in profound denial. Most of us walk around thinking that we're a victim of the world we see, not realizing that our attack thoughts are attacking our invulnerability. Our attack thoughts are producing a world where death seems to stalk us at every turn. That's what A Course in Miracles is telling us, which is really telling us how to experience heaven wherever we are. You know, don't attack. Don't attack. Stop attacking. What was the first line? Don't remain in conflict, because there is no war without attack. There is no war without attack. So, you know, the way to stop the war against yourself, the way to stop the war in the world is do not attack. Okay? Wow. Oh, I'm not attacking. I'm just expressing an opinion. I'm just defending myself. Nope, you're putting some more murder in the world. All right. And what's the opposite of attack? What is that we can do instead of attack that protects us, that really does protect us? The only true safety is love. So you don't need attack to be safe. You don't need attack to protect yourself. The only safety is God. And what is God? God is love. So the opposite of attack is love. Beautiful. And what does love do? It stops the war. It stops the murder. Hallelujah. And that's always an option. That is always an option. There'll never be an experience. There'll never be an event, an encounter, or a relationship. There'll never be a time where you can't choose to love in place of attack and stop the war against yourself and in the world. There'll never be a time you will lose that power to choose whether you want to attack or whether you want to choose to love. And the only safety is love. Right. Beautiful. Okay, that was paragraph 1. So, what can be equal to the truth, yet different? Murder and love are incompatible. They don't go together. You don't murder somebody you love. Even though, you know, we say we do. Because I loved him so much, I had to murder him. He was about to leave me, and because I love him so much, I had to murder him. Nope, that wasn't love. And that was fear. Okay? And that we, unfortunately, we have absolutely conflated love and attack, thinking, well, you only hate the ones you love, you only attack the ones you love, right? But the truth is you don't murder whom you love. Murder and love are completely incompatible. You may murder somebody you fear or somebody you hate, but you don't murder whom you love. You don't attack whom you love. And so anytime that anybody tells you, well, it was a crime of passion, it was a crime of love, I only attack you because I love you, is somebody who doesn't know what love really is. Now, so murder and love are incompatible, yet if murder and love are both true, then love and murder must be the same. If two things are true, they must be the same. So if love and murder are both true, then love and murder must be the same. And that's what we think. And that's why we have the world that we have. And that's why we have the relationships that we have that we experience often like battlegrounds. You know, experiencing a relationship like a battleground is when you believe that love and murder, love and attack go together, but they don't. Okay. So it says that yet if love and murder are both true, then they both must be the same, which means indistinguishable from one another. Whew. If love and murder are both true, then they're both the same, which means love and murder are indistinguishable from one another. Wow. But that's crazy. Who could really logically say that love and murder are indistinguishable from one another? But that is what we believe. Okay? And that is the mistake that we need to be corrected by the truth, which is what we're doing right now. Hi, Trisha. Lovely to see you, dear. Okay. All right. It says, and so love and murder will be the same and one to those who see God's children as a body. So if you think that you and others are a body, then you will believe that love and murder are the same, indistinguishable from one another. If you think you are a body. If you think they're a body, you will definitely think that love and attack are one, right? If you see them as a body and you see yourself as a body, then you're going to believe that if they leave you, that your love justifies your attack on them. Hi, Patty. Lovely to see you. All right, so very interesting. So if I see myself as a body, then I am definitely going to see love and murder as one and indistinguishable from one another. Wow. Because it is not the body that is like the creation's creator. It's not the body that's like us, okay? The creator's creation. Because what is lifeless cannot be the child of God. What is lifeless cannot be the child of life. What is lifeless, the body, cannot be the child of life. In other words, how can a body be extended to hold the universe? Can the body create and then be what it creates? And can the body offer its creations all that it is and never suffer loss? No. You know, that's how you know that the body and you are not one. That's how you know that God did not create a body. Can the body, what was the question? Can the body be extended to hold the universe? Well, if it can't, then it can't hold you. It can't be you. Okay? You are one with the universe. Your relationships are with the universe. And if the body cannot be extended to hold the universe, then the body cannot hold you, which means you cannot be a body. But if you think you are a body, then you will believe that love and murder are one. All right, and that is never fun. Believing that love and murder are one is never fun. If you believe that love and murder are one because you believe that you and the body are one, then in your relationships, you are going to have so many attack thoughts. You're going to have so many wishes to murder, aka attack thoughts. If you believe that you and the other are their bodies, then you're going to believe that it's natural to hate the one you love. And that is never fun, as we've all experienced. Beautiful. That was paragraph 2. And it says, God does not share God's function with the body. God gave the function to create unto you and unto me, because the function to create is God's function. That's what God gave us. God gave us our function, and God gave us the function that God has. And God's function is to create, and God created us, so God gave us the function to create, to extend as we were extended. That's our job, that's our function, to create as we were created. Beautiful. That's our real function, not to get as much as we can before we die, not to compete for a few remaining scraps before we die. That's not what we were created for. We were created to create the way that we were created. We were created to extend the eternal life, the eternal energy that we were created as. That's what we were really created to do. Not to get, not to compete, not to attack, not to die. We were created to extend eternally the good, the beautiful, and the holy, exactly as we were created, as we were extended. It's good to know what your function is. It's good to know, because when you become confused, when you feel like you are lost, it's because you have forgotten what you're here to do. You have forgotten what you were created to do. You forgot what you were created to be, which is a creator. That's what you were created to be and to do. And when you remember, oh yeah, I was created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy, then you cease the attack and the conflict which comes from the desire to attack and the desire to get and the desire to compete and the desire to be victorious. You stop it. And you remember, that's not what I'm here to do. That's not what I'm created to be. That doesn't make me happy. This getting and competing and trying to be victorious and trying to protect myself. That's not what I was created to be. So when you remember that, then you're able to stop the attack, the competition, all the getting purposes in your relationships, and you go back to your function of creating the good, the beautiful, and the holy, extending the love, the light, the peace that you were extended as. And you're like, I almost forgot what my function was. I almost forgot and thought that my function was to compete and get and try to be victorious and try to be special and attack and defend. But it created a life where I felt like my life was a battleground and where death was stalking me at every turn. I forgot what my function is. Now, so let me get back to what my function is. Okay? And as soon as you get back to what your function is, then you're getting back to peace and joy and abundance and love. All right. It says, God does not share God's function with the body. That's because God gave the function to create to you, because that's God's own function. Now, it's not sinful to believe that your function is murder. It's not sinful to have a wish to murder, which is a desire to attack. But it is insanity. It's not a sin to have a desire to attack, a wish to murder, but it is insanity. Because what is the same can have no different function. And creation is the means for God's extension. Creation is the means for love's extension. And what God must be, what is God's must be yours as well. Isn't that a beautiful thought? Whatever is God's must be yours as well. Oh, really? What God has, what must be God's, is also must be mine as well. Okay. Well, then that's got to mean that I have a lot more than I think I do. That has to mean that my perceptions of lack are false. They're delusions, they're illusions, they're lies that I am believing, that I'm telling myself. Any kind of lack that I perceive has got to be a lie if it's true that what is God's must be mine as well. And what is God's? God's is all love, all life, eternal life, all love, all power, everything that is real and true forever. And then that's God's. This is saying that's also mine, which means any lack I'm perceiving is a lie that I'm believing. Any lack I'm perceiving is a lie I'm believing. Good to remember. Good to remember. Because if I don't have any lack, if there's no lack in me, then why do I need to attack? And if I don't have any lack, why do I need to attack? And that's the question. Beautiful. It says, either God and you are both murderers, or neither God or you are murderers. Why? Because life does not make death. Why? Because life creates like itself. So if God is not a murderer, then you are not a murderer. And the reason God is not a murderer is because life doesn't make death. Right? God is eternal life. And so eternal life doesn't make death. What does God make? What does life make? It just makes more of itself. It just creates like itself. That's all that life does. It just creates more life. God is life. God is not death. God is not the author of death. God is life. And if God is life, then God is only going to create like himself, like itself. So, I love that. Life doesn't make death. Beautiful. All right. Life does not make death. So, if God is the author of death, that means God is a murderer. I hate to break it to you. But if God is the author of death, then God is a murderer. And that is what we believe. Crazy as it is. Like I said, that is insanity. To believe that God is a murderer and that God is the author of death is insanity, complete insanity. But that is what we have learned. So we do believe that God is a murderer. We do believe that God is a murderer, and so God created death, that God is the author of death. And so we do believe that love is death and that love is murder. And that's why we're also insane, and that's why our world is like a battleground. That's why. This is why the world is so insane and so murderous. You ever notice this world's kind of murderous? There's always war going on somewhere. And what is war? Is murder. That's what war is, by the way. Let's remember that war is a murder. And when you say this war is justified, we're saying that that murder is justified, and that's what we're saying. Okay, and until we say no to war, we are saying love is murder, and God is a murderer. And so must we be. If God is a murderer, then we think we're a murderer. And how is it that you can really truly love yourself and feel safe with others if you believe that you and they and God are murderers? Okay, you can't, right? And that's why we don't feel safe. That's why we don't feel safe in our body. That's why we don't feel safe in our relationships. That's why we don't feel safe in our world. But all of that illusion, all of that complete lie, fabrication, illusion, delusion that we as a species believe can be undone, can be unlearned by simply choosing not to attack. You can end all the conflict, all the war, all the murder by choosing not to attack. When you feel like there's something that needs to be done, when you feel unsafe, when you feel afraid, when you feel lack, don't attack. That's how you undo all of the world and your relationships and your body being a battleground. So I don't want my body to feel like a battleground anymore. You ever felt like your body was a battleground? It's always, I feel like my neck is attacking me, and I got a flare up of this, and I got an attack of my gout, and I got an attack of this, and I don't want my body to feel like a battleground anymore. I definitely don't want my relationships to feel like a battleground anymore, and I certainly don't want our beautiful planet to be a freaking battleground. You know what wars do to the planet? They destroy it. You know what wars do to your relationship? They destroy it. You know what wars do to your body? They destroy it. You know what wars do to your peace? They destroy it. And so, but we have the ability in any moment to end the war against ourselves and to help the wars of the world to stop. And he says there can be no war without attack. There can be no conflict without attack. So that's how you do it. Stop attacking. Stop attacking so that your body and your relationship in your world doesn't feel like a battleground anymore. And what's the alternative to attack? It's called love. It's real simple. Okay? Remember, love and attack are not the same. They are different. They are opposites. You can't be doing both at the same time. You can't be loving and attacking at the same time. And I love it, that idea that love transforms a battleground into a garden of plenty for all. A garden of plenty and safety for all. How would you like your life and your relationships and your world to be a garden of safety and plenty for all? How would you like that? That sounds really good. That sounds much better than what we have been doing for a long time. So just remember, attack isn't God's idea. It's not coming from God. And just remember, attack is never God's idea, and it's never coming from love. Just remember that love and attack are incompatible. So remember that, that when you're tempted to attack, that's not love. Remember, when somebody seems to be attacking you, remember that's not love. And remember, when you're asking yourself, what would God do? What would God do in this situation? Remember, God would never attack. So just think about that when you're wondering, what should I do? When you're tempted to attack, or you're wondering what you should do to feel safe, remember that the only safety comes from the relinquishment of attack. You want to feel safe? You want to feel really safe? It says the only safety comes from the relinquishment of attack, which is love. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, that was paragraph 3. So beautiful. I'm so happy to be reading this in these times when it seems like all our governments want for us is war, and I mean, for real. I mean, it seems like as a species we're flirting with World War III, so I'm very happy to be reading this at this time. All right, paragraph 4. Hi, Irene. No worries. No worries. Lovely to have you here, Irene. All right. Paragraph 4. The lovely light of your relationship is like the love of God. Your relationship cannot assume the loving function God gave you. Why? Because your forgiveness of each other is not complete as yet. And so your forgiveness of each other cannot be extended. I love it. This is so beautiful. The lovely light of your relationship is like the love of God. Your relationship, the lovely light of your relationship is like the love of God. But your relationship cannot yet assume the holy function God gave you because your forgiveness of each other is not complete as yet. And so your forgiveness of each other cannot be extended to all of creation. If you're going to extend your forgiveness to all of creation, it's got to start with your relationships. That's where it starts. If you're going to extend love to all of creation, guess what? It starts by the extension of that love, that forgiveness to each other, the people that you are in relationship with. It's like, I want to save the world, but I don't want to forgive you know who. I want to be a healer for the world, but I don't want to forgive that one right there. Okay. The way that you become a savior and a healer to the world is you extend the forgiveness to others. You extend that release from guilt to others. And when you extend forgiveness, release from guilt to each other, then your relationship is filled with this lovely light that becomes a light to the world. And that's the function of your relationships. The function of your relationships is to extend this loving light from your relationships to creation, to the world. And this loving light is released in your relationships as you forgive others, as you forgive each other. And as you forgive each other and your relationship is filled with this lovely light, now your relationships can fulfill their loving function. That's the real function of your relationships. Who knew that the real function of your relationships is to release to that inner light that is released in your relationships as you forgive each other, and then it's to be extended to all of creation. That's the real function of your relationships. We learned that the function of our relationships was to get some love and to keep that love. We learned that the function of our relationships is to get another body to protect our body and to serve our body's needs. That's what we learned was the function of relationships. We learned that the function of relationships was to hide from me my own self-hatred. We learned that the function of relationships was to have somebody else to blame so that you didn't have to take responsibility for your own life and for your own happiness. We learned that the function of relationships was to go get some happiness from another so that we could be happy ourselves. That's the function we gave to our relationships in the past. And that's not the holy function of your relationships. The holy function of your relationships is to extend this forgiveness light, this forgiving light to all the world through your relationship. That's the real function. It's not to get somebody to love you or get somebody to make you feel good about yourself and make you feel safe. And of course we've all noticed by now that no relationship that has that function fulfills that function. When you've given your relationship the function to make you happy and to make you feel safe and to make you feel good enough, it never works. It never, ever, ever works. If you've had any relationships so far in your life, you must have come to that conclusion. And it doesn't work because that is not what relationships are for, which means relationships cannot fulfill that task, right? They only make you feel more empty, more lonely, more inadequate if that is the function you have given to your relationships. The Course in Miracles says the function of our relationships was to learn how to extend forgiveness to the other person who is like ourselves that we don't recognize. That's the only real function of our relationships, and that they're not accidents. They were given to us by love because love knew that if we could extend forgiveness to this person, then we could extend forgiveness and love to all the world. That's the real function, the holy function given our relationship by God. Okay, who knew? That's very different than what we have learned about relationships and what they're for and what they are and what we're supposed to be experiencing and getting from them. That's totally the opposite. So it should work. It must be true. If it's the opposite of everything we've learned about relationships, what they're for, what they are, then it must be true. Okay? Beautiful. Now, then it says, each form of murder and attack that still attracts you and that you don't recognize as the attack and the wish to murder that it is, limits the healing and the miracles that you have the power to extend to all. So what is it that limits my power to extend miracles and healing to all? What limits the power, the healing and the miracles I have the power to extend to the world? What does limit the healing and the miracles I have the power to extend to the world? Tell me, what does limit that? Every form of murder and attack that I do not recognize, each form of murder and attack that still attracts me and that I don't recognize as a wish to murder. So there are some forms of murder and attack that still attract me that I don't recognize. Okay, so I've still got some an attack and a murder fetish that I'm in denial about. There are some forms of attack that still attract me that I don't recognize it for what it is. Like, for instance, guilt. That's a form of attack and a murder that I do not recognize as an attack and a wish to murder. Right? That's just one example here of the desire to control another with guilt. That is a wish to murder and attack that you don't recognize it for what it is. Okay? And so if I could just recognize the forms of attack and wish to murder as exactly that. Oh, that's a form of attack that still attracts me. Oh, that's a form of attack and murder that I think will get me something, that will help me feel safe, I think will get me some love, that will make me feel good about myself. So I'm attracted to that form of attack and murder. I'm attracted to guilt and I'm attracted to attack and murder in the form of guilt, but I don't recognize that that's what that is. I'm deceived in myself. We still believe that attack is good. You give you give guilt to others so that they will stay with you and they won't do to you what you think hurts you. We still think that there's some forms of attack and murder, like guilt, that are attractive. We still think that they can get us something that we want. We don't recognize them for what they really are. Okay? But every form of attack and murder, aka guilt, that we don't recognize that still attracts us, is exactly that which is limiting the healing and the miracles that we have the power to offer to all the world. And what would make you feel better about yourself than offering miracles and miracles to all the world? What could make you feel better about yourself? We believe, because we've been taught, that if I use a form of attack and murder called guilt to get something for myself and to keep something or someone for myself, that it will make me safe and it'll make me feel good about myself. But that doesn't make you feel good about yourself. It doesn't make you feel safe. It makes you feel more vulnerable, and it makes you feel more afraid, and it makes you feel more inadequate. The only thing that really makes you feel safe and happy and loving for yourself and others is you offering miracles of healing to others, to the world. That is the only thing that makes you feel really good about yourself. That's the only thing that makes you feel really safe. That's the only thing that makes you feel really safe. Not getting another's body to behave in a certain way that you think will make you feel safe. That does not make you feel safe or adequate or loved or lovable at all. And everything that I'm saying you can recognize is just the obvious truth. Everybody recognizes, yeah, that is true. All those things that I've done to get and keep by making guilty never increased my self-esteem. It never made me feel more secure in that relationship. or in general. It says, yet does your loving right mind, the voice for God within you, it does understand how to increase your little gifts and make them mighty. Beautiful. Your higher mind understands how to increase your little gifts and make them mighty. Also, the voice for God within you understands how your relationship is raised above the battleground, which means in the battleground no more. This is your part. What's your part? To realize that murder and attack in any form is not your will. And also, the overlooking of the battleground is now your purpose. All right, so beautiful. So maybe you don't recognize how your relationship rises above the battleground. Maybe you don't understand how your relationship can stop being a battlefield. You don't understand how to raise your relationships above the battlefield. But the voice for love, the voice for truth within you does understand how your relationship can be raised above the battleground, which means in the battleground no more. Good to know. Now, how is it that our higher self knows that our relationship can be raised above the battleground and in the battleground no more? Well, it's this. It's this. Realizing, when you realize that attack and murder in any form is not your will, that's not what you want, because it's not going to make you feel safe and it's not going to make you feel loved and adequate in your relationships. When you realize that, then your relationship will be raised above the battleground and in the battleground no more. Okay? That's what your higher self knows. Okay? Your higher self is like, when you realize that the desire to attack, the attraction of attack, the desire to attack, the wish to murder in any form is not what you want. When you realize attacking somebody else with guilt is not what I want, it's not my will. When you realize that that is not going to make me happy, it's not going to make me feel safe, it's not going to make me feel loved, then your relationship will be raised above the battlefield and in the battlefield no more. And now you're realizing that the real purpose, the holy purpose, the loving, abundant, safe, joyous, abundant purpose of your relationship is the overlooking of the battleground, the overlooking of the war between you, the overlooking of the attack, the overlooking of all that is now the new purpose of your relationship. Okay? Wow, beautiful. And how happy are you going to be in your relationships whose purpose is now the overlooking of attack, the overlooking of the war between you, the war that you both used to be attracted to? Okay? You know our attraction to attack, right? That intense desire to attack that we have, that addiction that we have to attack. Remember, recognize that? That intense desire and attraction to attack others in the false belief and delusion that by attacking somebody with guilt will make me feel safe, it will make me feel loved in my relationships. I love it. Barbara Schultz Blanchard says, this is so incredibly helpful for me. I love how you take one line by line, explain so I truly understand and assimilate it. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Barbara. I really appreciate that. That is my purpose. That is my purpose as a facilitator of A Course in Miracles, is to help you to see how simple it is to understand it and to use it. Okay, so this is all about using the practical application of these ideas, because these are extremely, limitlessly powerful ideas that are easy to use, very easy to use. So thank you for sharing that, Barbara. I really appreciate that feedback. Okay, great. So that's how our higher self understands how to raise our relationships out of the battleground, so that our relationships are not a battlefield anymore. And that's what I want. And then as your relationship begins to assume its holy and loving function of overlooking the war between us and then extending that into the world, helping others in the world to raise their relationships out of the battlefield as well, as we do that, our little gifts to each other will become mighty, mighty gifts that we are giving to the world. And does the world need those gifts, or what? What does the world need more than that? What does the world need more than the answer to war for real? You know, that's what all the world needs. There's nothing the world needs more than love's answer to war. Okay? And it starts within our relationships. And then our relationships radiate this loving light that then goes out into the world and helps the entire world to be raised above the battlefield. Okay? And when you do that, and you're using your relationships for that, you're going to experience all the joy and the safety and the security and the confidence that you were trying to get through attacking others with guilt. Who knew? So here's the instructions. Here's the instructions. Be lifted up. What does that mean? Be lifted up. It means be lifted up and from a higher place look down upon the battleground, whether it's your relationship or the battleground of the world. Be lifted up, which means from a higher place look down upon the battleground. Why? Because from above, from the higher place above the battleground of your relationship in the world, from there will your perspective be quite different. When you're looking down on the battleground from a higher place, then you are definitely going to have a different perspective on that conflict, that war that you're experiencing in your relationship, or the war that's going on in the world. It says here, from this higher place above the battleground, here in the midst of the battleground, the war does seem real. So that's when the war and the conflict in your relationship and in the world seems real, that's how you know that you are still in it. You are on the battleground. You are in the battleground. That's how you know. When the conflict and the battleground seems real, when the war seems real between you and another and in the world, that's how you know you're still in it. You're still on the battleground. You have not lifted your awareness up to a place of peace to look down on that battleground. Here on the battleground, you have chosen to be part of the war, the battle. Here on the battleground, murder is your choice. Yet from above the battleground, the choice is miracles instead of murder. That's how you know that you have allowed yourself to be raised in your consciousness above the war against yourself or the war in the world. Because now, from this higher vantage point above the battleground, all you want is miracles, not attack. All you want is miracles, not murder. So the way that this war is going to end, whether it's the war against yourself or the war in your relationship or the war in the world, the way it's going to end is when you get to another state of mind, above the conflict, above the battleground, where you remember that what you want is miracles, not attack, not to be right, not to be victorious. You just want peace. You just want love. No, that's the end of the war, is where you realize, I just want peace. I just want love. I don't want to be right anymore. I don't want to be victorious anymore. I don't want to get anymore. I just want peace. I just want love. That's the real treasure. That's the real joy. That's the real aliveness. That's the real safety. That's what I really want. That's the end of the war. And from this perspective, above the battleground, coming from this choice for miracles instead of murder, you see that the war, the battle isn't real. You know, from this perspective of your new choice for miracles, not murder, you realize that the battleground isn't even real. You realize that that war against yourself and the war between you and another isn't even real. Wow. From that higher perspective above the battleground, where you've made the choice for miracles instead of murder, you realize that the war isn't even real. Wow. And you're shown that the war isn't real. You're shown that that war against yourself and the war between you and them isn't even real. You're shown that. It's not like you're like, oh, I get it. It's not real. No, you are shown. You see it. You realize it. You're shown. It ain't real. Hallelujah. Now, then it says, not only do you see that the battle isn't real, but you also see that the battle is easily escaped. So from this higher perspective, where you're choosing miracle instead of murder, you see that the battle isn't real and that it's easily escaped. Oh, beautiful. Now, bodies may battle, but the clash of bodies is meaningless. And the clash of bodies, aka war, is over when you realize that the clash of bodies, the war, was never begun. Wow, okay. The war is over when you realize that it was never begun, which is the same as saying it was never real. It was never true. You know, a war seems to be between two rival realities fighting to see which one is going to be the more real, the one that's true. That's what a war is about. You know, two illusions that seem to be different that are fighting to establish which illusion is true. And so really you realize from the perspective of I want miracles instead of murder, you realize, oh man, that never was even, there never was a battle for truth. There never was a war that was going to establish what the truth is. What's true doesn't do battle. Or competition, exactly. What's true doesn't do competition. What's true, what's always been true, and what always will be true, never goes to war to establish itself as victorious or more true. You know, truth never goes to war to vanquish what isn't true. Truth doesn't do battle because truth knows that there is nothing besides love. The truth knows there is no opposite to love. There is nothing that needs to be vanquished. That's what love and truth knows. And that's why love never goes to war. That's why whatever is warring isn't love, which means it ain't true, which means it ain't real. That's what you are shown when you are able to, in your awareness, get above, be raised above the battleground, the war, to where you can choose miracles over murder. Beautiful. How can a battle be perceived as nothingness when you engage in it? How can a war be perceived as nothingness when you engage in it? Wow. So engaging in that battle, engaging in that war, fighting on that battlefield is going to keep you from seeing it for the nothingness that it really is. When you're engaging in this fight, with yourself or with another, then you will never see, you will never get that what you're fighting over is not even real or true and will have no effect in reality. You never see that you're not doing anything while you're engaging in that fight. So remember that when in your relationships, you're tempted to engage in the fight, in the battle, in the war, attacking back, defending yourself, keeping the attack going, tit for tat, competing, attacking back, defending yourself, attacking back. When you engage in it, you'll never realize that you're literally doing nothing. Nothing is happening, because truth is never established by war and conflict. Truth is never established by attack, ever. The only thing that could be possibly happening in a battle, in a war, is two illusions, two lies fighting. That's it. And whoever wins, it's still a lie. So remember that when you notice your desire to attack, when you are tempted to attack, when you are tempted to engage in a battle, in a war, remember that is really you're being tempted to do nothing except to make the belief that war and conflict is real more strong in your own mind, which is going to make you more afraid for your behind. In other words, how can the truth of miracles be recognized if murder is your choice? How can the truth of miracles be recognized if attack is your choice? Whew. Wow, this is really, really beautiful, powerful stuff. So now we're going to hear the thing to remember when you are tempted to attack, when you are tempted to fight, when you are tempted to defend, when you are tempted to defend yourself, when you're tempted to engage in the fight, in the war, in the battle. What should you do? When the temptation to attack rises to make your mind darkened and murderous, remember, you can, if you want to, you can see this battle from above. Okay, let me see if I got this straight, course. When I'm tempted to attack, and my mind and my temptation to attack has made my mind darkened and murderous, I want to remember that I can, if I want to, see this battle from above. I can see this conflict from above. I can, if I want to, see this battle, this war, this conflict from above. Do I want to? Do I want to see this conflict from above? Or do I want to stay on the battlefield and engage in it, thinking that I'm going to get something that I want from fighting? Okay? Now, even in forms you don't recognize, the signs you know. The signs of what? The signs of you being tempted to stay on the battlefield and fight for something that you think you can get from that fight. Okay, so how do I know when I'm being tempted to stay on the battlefield and to engage in that conflict? How do I know? Okay, well, here's how you know. Here's the telltale signs. You ready? Okay, first there's a stab of pain. Oh, that hurt, what you said. Oh, now I'm afraid. Oh, that hurt. There's a stab of pain. Okay, great. There's also a twinge of guilt. And above all, there is a loss of peace. Those are all the telltale signs that you are being tempted to stay on the battlefield and to fight, thinking that you're going to get something that's going to make you feel good enough or it's going to make you feel safe. Okay? That's a sign that your mind has become darkened and murderous. That's all. Those are the signs. There's 3 signs, and they're unmistakable, and you know them well. It says, you know these signs well. Stab of pain, twinge of guilt, and above all, a loss of peace. Okay? Now, when these signs happen, when they occur, do not leave your place on high, which means don't attack. Don't give in to that temptation. Don't leave your place on high. Don't leave your place of peace. Okay, that's the instruction. First, notice when you are tempted to engage in the conflict, thinking that if you just fight a little bit, you're going to get something that you want. And then you notice there's a stab of pain, a twinge of guilt, and above all, loss of peace. Don't leave your place on high, but what should you do instead? Quickly choose a miracle instead of murder. Quickly choose a miracle instead of attack thought. Quickly choose a loving thought instead of an attack thought. Okay, I'm tempted. Oh, I'm tempted to fight, to attack, to defend myself, to keep this war going. I'm so tempted because my old self, my old belief system is telling me, well, if you attack back, and if you're victorious, then you'll feel safe and you'll feel good enough, right? But don't take the bait. Don't take the bait. Don't leave your place on high, but instead choose a loving thought instead of an attack thought. Choose a miracle instead of murder. Okay, great. Those are the instructions. Now, if you do that, if you don't leave your place on high and choose a miracle instead of murder, this is what's going to happen, okay? This is what will happen. Well, what's going to happen? God himself and all the lights of heaven will gently lean to you and hold you up. To hold you up. Because you have chosen to remain where God would have you be, which is in peace above the battleground. And no illusion, no lie, no death can attack the peace of God together with you, God's creation. Whew! Did it say that God himself and all the lights of heaven will lean to you and hold you up? God himself. Not just some of God's angels, but God himself and all the lights of heaven will lean to you and hold you up. They will sustain you in your decision to not go down onto the battlefield to engage in the conflict and to engage in the war. God himself and all the lights of heaven will gently lean to you and hold you up and hold you strong. Because you've chosen to remain where God wants you to be. And no temptation to attack can attack the peace of God together with you. Once God has leaned together and is holding you up, you don't have to worry about the ego tempting you. You don't have to worry about being tempted to attack. Once you've allowed God to lean gently to you and hold you up, not only God, but all the lights of heaven. Wow. And all that happens just for you saying no to the attack. Just for you saying no to that temptation to attack, which is the wish to murder on the battlefield. Wow. Beautiful. And then some more instructions. And I'll just finish with this next paragraph, paragraph 7. Here's the other instructions. Okay? I love it. Dan says, oh, Holy Spirit, let me see this another way. Beautiful. All right. Here's the other thing to do when you are tempted to attack in the conflict, when you're tempted to fight on the battleground, when you're tempted to stay on the battleground and fight for something that you think is going to make you feel safe or good enough. Okay? See no one from the battleground. Don't look on anyone from the perspective of the battleground. Because when you're looking at other people, when you're on the battleground, when you're on the battlefield, you are looking on them from nowhere. Which means you have no reference point from where to look. You have no reference point from where meaning can be given what you see. Because only bodies could attack and murder. And if attack and murder on the battlefield is your purpose, then you must be a body too. You know, if you're looking at them with the purpose of attack and murder, then you're going to think you're a body too, because only bodies could attack and murder. Okay? So if you're looking at people from the battleground, if you're looking at others from the perspective of the fight, I need to defend myself and attack them before they attack me, or I got to attack back to defend myself, then all you're going to be seeing is them as a body. Okay? Because only bodies could attack and defend. But that means that you're going to be seeing yourself as a body as well. Only a purpose unifies. War doesn't unify. Have you noticed? War does not unify at all. Have you noticed that conflict doesn't unify? It's not like, well, if I just am victorious in this conflict with this person, then we'll be one again and we'll love each other again. If I just prove to them how wrong they are and attack them with guilt, then they'll love me, they'll see I was right, and then we'll experience the unity that I really desire in my heart of hearts. You know, war and conflict, fighting with others, never produces unity. It never produces the joining, the closeness that you desire in your heart of hearts. I mean, you would think that we would get that by now, but we're a little slow, and that's all right. Don't fight against it. Just remember what your purpose is and remember what you really want. So only a purpose unifies, not war, which means those who share a purpose have a mind as one. So if you want to experience real unity with somebody, that is something that doesn't come from bodies and something that you win on the battlefield of bodies. If you really want to experience unity, feeling one with another, that comes from sharing a purpose, not giving them guilt about what their body does and has and goes and blah, 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 blah. That is not where unity really comes from. You're never going to experience unity if you're attacking people about what their body's doing, hoping that their body won't leave. That is never what produces unity, the unity that you desire with all of your heart and soul. Only a purpose, only a shared purpose with another produces that unity. Only those who share a purpose have a mind as one. The body has no purpose of itself, and the body must be solitary. In other words, you can't join with another person with a body. Bodies don't join. Bodies can't join. They can't join. They are a thing apart. Okay? They're a separate thing. Okay? That's what they were made for, to keep us separate. So if you really want to have an experience of true joining and true unity with another person, that comes from sharing a purpose, not fighting over something around the body. That doesn't produce unity. It doesn't produce love. It doesn't produce safety. It doesn't produce oneness that you really desire. It says, so from below, in other words, from the battlefield, the body cannot be surmounted. From above the battleground, which means above the body, the limits that the battleground exerts on those still in battle are gone. From above the body, the limits the body exerts on those in battle still are gone and not perceived. The body stands between the Creator and the heaven that the Creator created for us, because the body has no purpose. So that's what the body was made for, was to stand between us and our creation. The body was made to stand between us and heaven. That's what the body was made to do. Okay? And so we're being asked, we're being reminded that we can rise above the level of the body. And when we rise above the level of the body and stop seeing each other from the conflict of bodies, then the limits that the body exerts on those still on the battlefield are gone. I love that. How to have the limits on our bodies gone. Okay? How do you do that? You stop seeing each other from the level of the body, which is the level of conflict. You start looking at each other from not at the level of conflict in the bodies, but you start looking at each other from above the level of conflict of bodies. You start seeing each other as not bodies, okay? Seeing each other as beyond the body. And when you see each other as beyond the body, not the body, because you're not worried about the things that the body's fighting about, then the limits that are exerted on the body are gone. Love that. Beautiful. All right. So it's 8:35, so we're going to stop here. And let me see. There's only 2 more paragraphs, but I'll just read 2 more paragraphs, and I'll just read through it, and then we'll close up. All right. We're talking about the only thing that truly unifies us, the only thing that can truly unify you with another, is a shared purpose. All right? So if you really want to experience that oneness and that joining and unity that you desire in your heart of hearts, but you just didn't know how to get it, you're trying to get through the body and fighting around the body, it says, think what is given those who share their Creator's purpose and who know that God's purpose is their purpose. Those who share God's purpose and know that God's purpose is their purpose, those folks, those two, they want for nothing. Those who share God's purpose and those who know that God's purpose is their purpose, they want for nothing. Ooh, that sounds awesome. How'd you like to have a state of mind where you want for nothing? How'd you like to experience yourself and your life and your relationships where you want for nothing? It says, those who share God's purpose and know that God's purpose is their purpose, sorrow of any kind is inconceivable for them. Only the light they love is in their awareness, and only love shines upon them forever. Doesn't that sound good? Doesn't that sound like a big improvement on our relationships? Those who share God's purpose and know that God's purpose is their purpose, then only love is it, and then love is their past, their present, and their future, always the same, eternally complete and wholly shared. Those folks who know that God's purpose is their purpose, and those who share God's purpose and know that God's purpose is all they want, those folks know that it is impossible that their happiness could ever suffer change of any kind. How would you like to have that kind of awareness and have that kind of awareness in your relationships? Wow. Big improvement from the way we've been doing relationships as a battlefield. Big improvement. Now, perhaps you think the battleground can offer something that you can win. Perhaps. Okay. Well, can what you think the battleground can offer you that you can win, can that be anything? Can the battleground be anything that, perhaps you think the battleground can offer something you can win, but can it be anything that offers you a perfect calmness, a sense of love so deep and quiet that no touch of doubt can ever mar your certainty? Is that something that you can ever get on the battleground? And perhaps you think the battleground can offer you something that you want. But can the battleground ever, can the fight you're in right now, can the war you're experiencing within yourself and with others ever offer you a perfect calmness? Can the battleground, the war that you're in, the conflict that you're fighting in, can it ever offer you a perfect calmness, a sense of love so deep and quiet that no touch of doubt can ever mar your certainty? Ask yourself that about the fight that you're engaging in, and that will last forever. Those with the strength of God in their awareness could never think of battle. What could they gain but loss of their perfection? Because everything fought for on the battleground is of the body, something that the body seems to offer or to own. But no one who knows that they have everything could seek for something of the body through battle. And anyone who knows that they have everything could never value what the body offers. The senselessness of conquest around the body on the battlefield is quite apparent from the quiet sphere above the battleground. What can conflict with everything? And what is there that offers less, yet could be wanted more? Who, with the love of God upholding them, could find the choice of miracles or murder hard to make? Who, with the love of God upholding them, could find the choice of miracles or murder hard to make? All right, beautiful. All right, finish that section. Beautiful. And I'm just going to do announcements real quick, and then I'll just do a couple of minute integration meditation. Announcements are, Greg and I do Transforming Relationships Through A Course in Miracles every Sunday and Tuesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time on my Facebook page. And this class right here, Monday class, every Monday, 7 p.m. on my Facebook channel, on my Facebook page for the winter. I'll go back to doing in-person at the Miracle Center come spring or summer. And that's 7 p.m. on Mountain Time every Monday. I am a holistic psychotherapist, and I have a practice called Miracle Psychotherapeutics for Course in Miracles students who would like some psychotherapy, but they would like it from a Course in Miracles perspective. And if you would like a Miracle Psychotherapeutic session for me, see how to contact me in the details of this class, and I look forward to supporting you. Beautiful. So that's that. And now we're going to do an integration meditation where for about 5 minutes, we're going to take these ideas and we are going to use them. All right. So I want you to close your eyes and take a breath and just breathe and just feel. I want you to just feel what you feel having heard these ideas. Notice how it feels within you, your mind, your body, your spirit. Hearing these ideas and hearing them in a circle of mighty companions who also want to let their relationships be raised above the battleground. How does that feel? Beautiful. Now I want you to bring to your awareness a relationship that feels like it's on the battleground, on a battlefield, whether it's your job, your partner, your children, your parents. What is that relationship that is still full of conflict, where you feel like you need to fight in order to get something that makes you feel adequate or safe or good enough? Where is it in your life right now that you're really tempted to fight, to engage in that conflict, thinking that you can win something that you want? Where is that in your life right now? Maybe it's a relationship with yourself. Maybe it's a relationship with the world. All right. So, we heard when the temptation to attack and to engage in this attack rises to make your mind darkened and murderous, remember, you can see this battle from above. So tell yourself, I can see this battle, I can see this conflict from above. Tell yourself, I can see this battle from above. I can rise above this battle. I want you to tell yourself, I don't need to fight against my wish to attack this person or peoples. I don't have to fight against my wish to attack, my wish to murder. I don't have to fight against my attraction to attack. All I have to do right now is realize and remember that murder is not my will. Attack is not what I want. Don't feel guilty. Don't fight against your wish to attack and murder, thinking it offers you something. Just remember, murder is not my will. And breathe. Tell yourself, I don't recognize this form of attack and murder that's still attracting me. I don't recognize it for what it is. And this form of murder and attack that is attracting me right now is limiting the healing and the miracles that I have the power to extend to all. Now I want you to tell yourself, my higher self understands how this relationship can be raised above this conflict, this war, and in this war no more. And all I have to do is remember and realize that murder in any form is not my will. I want you to tell yourself the overlooking of this conflict is now my purpose. So I want you to allow yourself to be lifted up above the conflict with this person. And from above the conflict with this person, now look down upon this conflict. And from this higher place, realize that miracles and not murder is your choice. I want miracles, miracles of healing, miracles of love, miracles of abundance. That's my choice, not fighting, not attacking. And I want you to ask yourself, can this fight, can this conflict that I have been engaging in, can it offer me a perfect calmness and a sense of love so deep and quiet that no touch of doubt can ever mar my certainty? Now I want you to notice how the senselessness of this fight is so obvious from this quiet sphere above this conflict. I want you to feel the love of God upholding you. I want you to feel the love of God and all the lights of heaven holding you up. And now, you, with the love of God and all the lights of heaven holding you up, can you find the choice of miracles or murder hard to make? Make your choice. Choose miracles instead of murder. And feel the love of God and all the lights of heaven leaning gently to you to hold you up and to give you everything, everything that you never found on the battlefield. You guys, and then take a breath and bring your awareness back to your body, wherever you're at. So good, beautiful. Gracias to you too, Daniel. All right. I love you guys. I'm so grateful. If you would like to support this ministry and support these ideas going out into the world, if you would like to support the algorithms in pushing this class out to more people, then if you're watching this on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. And if you're watching this on Facebook, share it on your Facebook channel so that this idea can extend. This is how we create as we are created. We extend the ideas that were given to us. We extend what was given to us. So I appreciate you. I love you more than I can say. And I'll see you next time I see you.